Hey guys, welcome back to RPG a Day. Today we're going to do today's video and then three more. Number 8, day 8. Favorite character, with the character is the bold part. Um, I'm tempted to kind of think strictly in my own piece in terms of my own PCs or NPCs. And I've had a few I liked, like I loved the backstory of Brazenback, which was my Rift's godling, um, who didn't know her own heritage and stuff like that, and left off. Never played her again after this session with this chilling nightmare that she had, which actually revealed to her, not directly, but gave her hints as to what her lineage was and who it was, because she was a cyber knight, right? So she's like strictly good alignment wise, but the deity side of her, the mother side, was a really evil god. So that could have been interesting, but never played her again. But really, it's my wife's first PC. So that was in her first campaign, right? Um, she was in my half breeds campaign before we left Omaha. That was just kind of a theme we came up with because if you've seen my setting videos that I published like 2-3 years ago, um, there was a certain amount of hatred, racism, or at the very least second classism to the half breeds, and for reasons uh, like there were influential reasons as to why people thought the things that they did. I'm not justifying it, just world building. Um, and after a few characters picked half breeds in the party, I kind of made it a thing where, hey, maybe you should all be half breeds, or be specifically thinking about being friendly towards half breeds. And so I ended up with a party of like 4 half breeds and one pure person, which was a human. Um, and that ended up being a campaign about, and it was thanks to RPG a Day 2016, I believe, that this happened. I was asked, one of the questions in 2016 was, what's your favorite end to a campaign, which made me realize that all my campaigns ever had just puttered to a slow and pathetic death. And so I actually gave this campaign a goal, which was safeguarding and protecting and heralding the coming new chosen one, who would be a half breed god, essentially. Um, but anyways, if you've been on the channel, you've heard the story. If not, see you later. Check you out on the 9th. But yeah, she was playing an assassin in training, and out adventuring with other people, and she got her orders like, hey, there's these people over here who are dealing in slaves, and they've got the wrong people we don't appreciate being in slavery. So go kill the slavers, go assassinate the owner and whatnot. And they tried to the players decided to fake bringing in this half breed. Like, I think it was the human bringing in the half breed is like, hey, I captured this runaway slave, trying to pass that off. Though of course that was gonna be a little harder without dressing her down. But somebody came up and she had poisoned her blade, and she stabbed the guy, and he failed his poison save, and so he was gonna die in a few rounds. And so, but then combat started. He attacked her. He had a huge penalty, but it's Rollmaster. I opened and ended rolled 2-3 times. Got in the 300s, even after his negative modifier. I think I had a negative modifier of 70 or 75. It was huge. But that crit roll, man, finished her off in 2 rounds. She actually died before her target. And we were playtesting Rollmaster Unified at the time, so we'd all agreed ahead of time to not fudge rolls, because we were like, if this is overly lethal or overly easy, we want to feed that information back. So we promised that we wouldn't fudge any rolls. That was the agreement we had amongst ourselves. And man, I was really tempted, because it was my wife's first PC. What was I supposed to do? No. And my wife was like, no, we agreed. This is gonna stand. She's gonna die, and so I let it be. But in the end, like, it was great. It was one of the greatest moments of the entire campaign. We, there were several half breeds amongst the freed slaves, and so she made a new character, made it a half breed, and was like, okay, this is one of the people that you freed, who now feels like really indebted to the people that freed her and joins the party. And she really ended up enjoying that character too. Does she think sometimes, man, what would have happened if Taranis would have lived? What could I have done? What would her story been? Yeah, she thinks about that. And then later I had I had some representative from the Assassin's Guild capture the pre-existing members of her party, 2 of the 3, I think. I think I'd had one player had left since then. I think he moved. I think that's why he left. He moved. And I didn't have them capture the new character of hers because they were new. They weren't known to be in her party. And basically interrogate them as to like, hey, what happened here? This person hasn't gotten back to us. We don't see her anymore. What happened? As we're spying on you. And so that made for an interesting session that kind of wrapped up her legacy a little bit. So that was fun. That was cool. That's why, huge 17-page long conversation on the RPG side of the geek, board game geek, role playing geek, video game geek. Excuse me. It's one of the reasons why I'm like, don't be afraid to not fudge dice. Like, it could bring interesting things to your character, whether you planned it, to the story, whether you planned on it or not, and that includes character death. Like, now, I mean, that is a caveat, right? Like, hopefully it brings something interesting. Hopefully the GM or the player or the players that are left surviving make it interesting. I think that's probably the key there, is if it's gonna not just suck for the player, you've got to do something with their death. But yeah, I think I kept trying to fight it because I've talked about that character so often, but I think maybe that's because she really is my favorite character. Anyways, I'm gonna record day 9 now, and I'll see you guys later.